Good morning on this beautiful day. And yes, it's still very warm and it is a bit humid out here, but it's morning and it's lovely, and I thought that I would come out and do my own personal devotions outside today. So anyways, I hope that you will want to join me for a little portion of my day, and I'll talk to all of you in just a little while. Today, I decided that I was going to attempt to make the Tomatillo Salsa. And I've never made this before. In fact, I've never even realized that there was such a thing until this past winter when we were given a challenge to plant from seed for the first time two plants that we had never grown before, and this was one of them that I chose. So a tomatillo is just is very similar. It's known as a husk tomato, even though it's technically not a tomato, and it has like this husk that you can see right here, and it just comes right off. So the way that you can tell that they are getting ripe and ready to pick is the husk splits, and so then you know to pick it. And if they're really ripe, they fall off the vine. So yeah. But anyways, according to what I read, it said that the tomatillos are called husk tomatoes and are a Mexican fruit related to tomatoes. They have a papery shell that comes off easily when they are ripe, and they look for either green or purple husks because they taste the same. Well, I didn't even know that there was a different variety, to be honest with you. So what I'm going to be doing right now is peeling off the husks, and according to the directions that I'm going to be using for my salsa, which is the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving, and it is on page 212. That's the recipe I'm going to be using. It says that I am to husk them, core them, and chop them. So that's what I am attempting to do, and yeah, I'll bring you back when I'm done husking all these tomatillos, and I really hope that I have enough. Well, according to the recipe, I need 5.5 cups of chopped tomatillos, a cup of onion, a cup of chopped and seeded chili peppers, and white vinegar, lime juice, garlic, cilantro, cumin, salt, and hot pepper flakes. So I have that all out, and what I used, my new chopper to chop the tomatillos. Boy, did that make it easy, let me tell you. Very thankful for that one. So anyways, I'm going to finish up my chopping, and I'll bring you on down, and we can show how to do this. Well, according to our directions, we are to combine our tomatillos, our onion, our chili peppers, our vinegar, our lime juice, our garlic, our cilantro, cumin, and salt, and hot pepper flakes, and bring to a boil on the stove. So here are my tomatillos. In here I have my onion, my chili peppers, and my garlic. So now we just need to add a 1/2 cup of white vinegar, 4 tablespoons of lime juice, and 2 tablespoons of chopped cilantro. Now I am using some actually dried cilantro. I didn't grow any cilantro this year. I'm not really sure why. And since this is dried cilantro, we will only be using half of the amount. So I'll be putting in 1 tablespoon, 2 teaspoons of our ground cumin, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of hot pepper flakes. So now what we are to do is we are to just stir this, bring it to a boil, and heat, stirring frequently for about 10 minutes. So I'll take it over to the stove, and yeah, we'll get this bottled up. So this is our Tomatillo Salsa, and it's all ready to go into our hot jars. According to the directions, there should be a 1/2 inch headspace. And as you can see, this only made 3.5 jars, so I'm only going to be able to process the 3. You can't process just a 1/2 a jar. How to debubble this? But our directions do say that once the 15 minutes is up, we are to turn the heat off of our canner, and then we are to wait 5 minutes before removing them from the canner. So yeah, I'll show you what this looks like when these are all done, and I guess I better start chopping. For today's devotion, we will be reading from Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 11 and 12. Then you came near and stood at the foot of the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire to the midst of heaven, with darkness, cloud, and thick darkness. And the Lord spoke to you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the sound of the words, but saw no form. You only heard a voice. It was at the base of Mount Sinai that the children of Israel had an unforgettable experience. It was here that the Lord appeared to them for the first time, but they could not handle what they saw. How the Lord appeared in smoke, fire, and thick darkness, with thunder and lightning that displayed the power of God. And the children of Israel were terrified. Exodus 20, verses 18 to 21, tell us how the people responded to God's move towards intimacy. It says that the people stayed at a distance and said to Moses, "Speak to us yourself, and we will listen, but do not have God speak to us, or we will die." How incredibly sad. God is seeking intimacy, and Israel is seeking distance. God comes, and the people turn away in fear. Their reaction is just the opposite of Moses's at the burning bush. Moses drew near. Israel backed up. We are told how God comes to meet the people that he has just saved, and they all back away. All except Moses. And when you think about it, it truly is sad. Yet, how often do we back away? Yes, our God is a consuming fire, but not to burn or harm us or to destroy us, but to transform us as in reverence and to worship him. Perhaps the Lord's voice can be a bit too much for us to handle at times also. Perhaps the dark clouds that come into our lives is evidence that the Lord is trying to speak to us. Perhaps instead of being fearful of the dark clouds, we need to be alert to what God is trying to say to us. Perhaps instead of hiding or complaining, we need to start seeking him even more. And his words to us are the same today. The Lord wants us to know him personally, to love him with all that we are, to fear him in respect and honor. Why? Because he wants to bless, protect, and lead us in his ways. You see, we are the safest and the most peaceful when we are obeying his words and willing to listen to his voice, even when it may seem too scary to handle. With that, I want to remind you, life happens. Let's enjoy it. And just something to consider. Israel backed up lest they die, and they were right. They would die if they remained in the holy presence of God. But, like Moses, it would not have been a physical death, but transforming. You see, something about Moses did die at the burning bush. Before his experience, Moses was running from Pharaoh and from his own people. Then, after his experience, he's going back to lead his own people and stand before Pharaoh. The fire of that bush was a transforming fire, doing something to the heart of Moses so that he became a servant of God and a vessel of his presence. And now Israel had the same opportunity. The Lord desired to melt them into a kingdom of priests and a holy nation, to purify them and make them vessels of his presence. And Israel backed up, turning away from this treasured calling. Dare we do the same? God bless, and I will talk to you tomorrow.